Hi, Tanith Lee here, otherwise known as Mrs. Menopause, helping women go through the perimenopause years and keep their sanity. So in my ebook called 7 Secrets to a Happy Menopause, I go through 7 perhaps not so secret ideas to help women get the best out of their third age of living. So, we go through puberty, and we go through the childbearing age, and then we go into the perimenopause. Way! So, the 7 secrets to a happy menopause are by no means the complete list of areas that need to be covered, but in my experience with myself and my clients, these are areas that definitely make a big impact. You get more for your buck. So, the 7 secrets are stress, weight management, nutrition, sleep, exercise, mindset, and education. So the one we're going to talk about a little bit today is a little bit about weight management and nutrition. Quite a big subject, going to keep it quite simple because that's the way I roll. So, what you want me to show you, right, is the perfect menopause diet. Wouldn't it be great if I could just send you to my website and it'd have the perfect diet? Wouldn't that be great? Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. There isn't a perfect menopause diet. But there's no need to give up hope, because there certainly is much we can do to help ourselves to lose weight, to have more energy, to reduce our cravings, to increase our mood, to help the quality of our sleep. There's much we can do. Now you've got to think the menopause is a transition. So those perimenopause years are a transition. And it's just a case of finding the best way to get through those years. And there is light on the other side. So when we get to that point that we have up that last period, things start to settle down and become easier. So it's just a short period of time, really, we need to look at. So no perfect menopause diet, but what I'm going to do is talk to you today about how you can help yourself. The first thing we've got to think about is we need to get off this diet cycle. Because there isn't this perfect diet. And we've all tried the diets. I'm sure you've been on a diet, I've definitely been on diets, whether it's eating clean or low carb or paleo or whatever it is. A diet usually is a way of eating for a short period of time. And the question is, what happens when you stop the diet? Generally, people tend to go back to the way they were eating before, and so goes the cycle. And the thing is, once we keep going through this cycle, so this one on the screen, we kind of get into a little bit of this yo-yo dieting, and over time this really can mess with our metabolism. And our metabolism doesn't need any more messing with. So what can we do? The thing to do is we've got to stop the diet cycle. We've got to stop that mindset. Because the word diet now instantly makes us feel a bit stressed out. And they don't work. I don't care which one you go on, or what it says it will deliver. It will only work for the time that you are on it. And if you're on a diet, at some point you will fall off it. So it's trying to get a head around to, a way of eating for life, which doesn't sound that sexy, I know, but it's the only way that's going to work for us. So what do I mean by that? So I wouldn't, we used to think about exercise more, eat less. So restrict our calories, exercise more. You know what? Our body is a very clever piece of kit. And it will automatically adjust itself. So if it thinks it's not getting enough calories for the amount of work it's doing, it will slow down your metabolism. Because it needs to survive. The human body needs to survive. It doesn't care if you can't get into your favourite jeans. It's built to survive. So this is what we've got to kind of think about. So it's not just about cutting calories, and it's not also about just manipulating the stress levels and everything else. We've got to think about working from all different angles. I like to keep things simple. I've been through enough complicated programs regimes, diets. And these days, I like to keep a simple life. So I took this from Underground Wellness website, which is a great source of information, does a really good podcast as well. Just eat real food. We become too reliant on convenience food, takeaways and processed foods. Things from packets, tins, ready mixes, jars, sauces, you name it. Now, I'm not a food fascist, and I like to indulge as much as the next person. But I also know that if I indulge too much, it's going to have a detrimental effect on the way I feel and the way I look. So just eating real food. So it's getting back to basics again. Home cooking, real food, knowing where our food comes from. And this is really, really important, I think, especially if we've got families. I think it's a very important part of raising the family as well. Just eating real food. Now, time is the one thing that's thrown up in my face that women say they haven't got enough of. I haven't got time to cook every day. And there are certainly ways around this. There's batch cooking, there's using things like slow cooker, there's lots and lots of different ways. And I'm not going to cover all that today, but it's just worth changing one thing at a time. Just thinking about what you can do. Just eat real food. I'm going to read you a quote here. It says, our bodies release mood and energy enhancing chemicals like adrenaline to fight allergic responses to food. So we are hooked on what we're allergic to. Now, I haven't seen the research on this, and I'm not sure what context this was taken in, but it's basically saying we crave the foods we're actually allergic to because it creates this response in our bodies. And I can kind of relate to that because I know that eating gluten-loaded, sugar-loaded biscuits isn't doing me the world of good and generally makes me feel rubbish afterwards, but I still eat them and I still crave them, and perhaps that's why. So just eating real food, trying to work on that 80-20 principle. If we eat really well and look after ourselves and nourish ourselves with food, 80% of the time we've got a 20% window there to indulge and in our favourite kinds of food. So eat more. I always encourage clients to